What's up? It's your boy Frank back with another video, and I'm here with my man's Ryan,
How you
and
guys doing?
I wanted to try something different rather than gaming. I wanted to do a movie review for the new Death of Superman movie that came out 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I don't know. And we wanted to give our opinions, what we like, what we dislike, and what they could have done better, comparing it to the old Superman Doomsday movie. And without further ado, let's get right into it. A quick synopsis of the movie. It's a nice and bright sunny day in the DC universe. Superman is doing his Superman things. The Justice League is riding around and getting it. And the meteor, thought to be meteor, is in space. And it comes down, come to find out it's not a meteor at all. It's Doomsday. And Doomsday comes down and punches on all the Justice League. And plot twist,
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes.
if you didn't know the title of the story, Superman dies.
And know that it's not a spoiler. It's literally the title of the film.
It's literally the title of the film. So I don't know what you guys want me to tell you, but yes, Superman dies. But there's a lot more to the story than that, so we'll get into that right about now. This movie is a Justice League film. They do appear in the movie, but the four main characters with the most screen time are Lex, Lex, Lois, Clark, and Doomsday. Now, Ryan, what were your thoughts about Lex? And how do you think he was portrayed?
I feel like they did a great job of, with their portrayal of Lex. Excuse me, like the way he comes off narcissistic. And if you really watch the film or any DC adaptation, Lex is the only person that refers to Superman as a god. To everybody else, he's just their hero. But in
Right.
Lex's eyes, he's a god who spites him by not wanting worship in return,
Yeah, he
because
feels like Superman should want worship, but he doesn't.
exactly. Superman. A great line on that is from the old TV show called The New Adventures of Lois and Clark, where Superman says, "Superman is what I can do. Clark Kent is who I am." And that
Right.
always bothered Lex Luthor, how Superman's always just so humble and he doesn't want anything in return. Lex Luthor doesn't trust that. Lex Luthor is the smartest guy on the planet, so he feels he should be the guy that is being worshipped, being praised. But oddly enough, he's always the guy putting everybody on the planet at risk. So I did it.
Yeah.
I feel like in the brief amount of screen time he had, they did a very good job of portraying that.
Yeah, and back to the whole like narcissistic thing, like at the end where he's kind of like speaking on Superman's behalf or just talking about how his experience with Superman. He's like, you know, we were not always the best of friends, but when we talked, it was great. He shared
It's,
so
it's
much
sort of
knowledge
that
with
warped
me.
relationship.
Yeah, but in reality, Superman like high key hated his guts. But Lex is like turned into this moment to make it seem like, oh, they were
Exactly.
friends because he's the
We're
only person alive.
friends.
And even in the like, even when they were when he tries to like interfere with the fight in Metropolis with him and with Doomsday and Superman, he's like, all right, yeah, now it's my time to shine. And then he quickly learns this is not a place for a human. Like Doomsday was not having
Exactly.
none of that, and he was upset because Superman had to save him
This
in
evil.
his time that he thought Superman he was going to be able to save Superman and become the hero. He ended up not being the hero, and his like
Exactly.
his actions after that, they did a really good job of making him like seem so self-centered, so narcissistic. Me. It has to be all about me, or it's not gonna fly.
Exactly. He has such a big ego that he's willing to put Metropolis and all of their citizens at risk just to satisfy the needs of his ego.
Facts. Lois, she was like okay. She wasn't anything special. We've seen better Lois Lanes in this movie. To me personally, she did a lot of nagging, like because in this film, she dates Clark Kent and not Superman, which I thought was a very interesting twist. I don't think I've
Yeah,
ever
that was.
seen a storyline where Lois isn't, she's like kind
It's
of just interviews Superman, but is actually dating Clark. We always see the reverse. So I thought that was interesting.
exactly. That was a nice touch in my opinion as well. But like you said, to echo your sentiments, I felt like Lois wasn't really Lois. She did a lot more complaining than I'm used to in a Lois Lane. I felt like in her relationship with Clark, he was holding back because, as we all know, he's Superman, and he doesn't want to have his loved ones open up to that part of his world and have her put herself in danger by knowing his identity. And I felt like instead of being the investigative reporter that she is, and putting two and two together and finding out his identity for herself, she just whined about it and begged him for answers, which isn't within Lois Lane's character, in my opinion.
And especially like when she finally figures out that Clark is Superman, she's like, "Oh, I get it now." I'm like, "How? So all this time, you've been asking to know if was he hiding, and then he tells you, and now you know." Like that didn't even make sense. That was very, very foolish, very foolish. But the thing is, she was tolerable. It wasn't like an intolerable nag. But
yeah, exactly.
We've seen
But it was just
better.
added character.
Yeah.
For Lois Lane, in my opinion.
Now Clark Kent, Superman himself. To me, now I understand that this Superman is the New 52 run Superman, or at least that's how they introduced him to the story. In my opinion, he was just kind of like nothing. He wasn't anything special. He was kind of just like, I'm Superman. I'm going to make sure I want to protect my loved ones by not telling my secret, because I see no positive outcome to me telling you that I'm Superman. I only see hurt and destruction and pain come from that. And to me, like I said, his character wasn't anything special, but it wasn't bad either.
Yeah, I feel like they did a great job of capturing Superman, like the essence of the character, in my opinion. Because, for example, in his battle with Doomsday, and this is a very, very light spoiler, he's on Doomsday and Superman are fighting on the bridge, and a piece of debris from the bridge is falling down, and the kid is about to get crushed by it. And Superman literally stops fighting Doomsday, brushes Doomsday aside to save the child. And that is Superman at his core as a character. No matter how big the fight, no matter what the stakes are, if there's a civilian in danger, he will drop whatever it is he is doing to save that person. And that's what makes Superman the greatest hero DC has.
Yeah, that is
the
true.
Selflessness.
The only one note I have, and we talked about this when we watched the Superman / Doomsday movie, which is a 2007 like loose adaptation to the Death of Superman story, and how Clark they don't portray Clark as like a scientist or as him not knowing about science. They kind of just make him this brawler character that doesn't really talk about science that much. I just wish that in this movie universe at that, they kind of portrayed that more of him actually know about science. But other than that, I didn't have any real issues with his character.
In the pre-New 52 adaptation they did, the Superman Doomsday, like, that Superman's a lot more intelligent. You know, there's a part where Superman's like, I can do all these things, but I still can't cure cancer. Like, Superman wants to be more to our planet, than a strongman. You know, he wants to help people on every level. He wants to be able to heal the sick. You know, that really speaks to the man's character. And I should say, for a quick comparison, with Superman Doomsday, the 2007 adaptation of it, I felt like that Superman, he was just a lot more intelligent, but not only that, he was a lot more strategic in the way he fought Doomsday. Like, he didn't just
go in there and swing.
Push the action in Metropolis. He took Doomsday outer space, tried to move him away from the city, even though Doomsday really was like, yo, I ain't going for none of this. There's only so much you could do because the guy's name is Doomsday, for crying out loud.
Right.
But yeah, Superman, I feel like they did an excellent job of showing his character, doing his character justice, taking the great parts of Superman and putting it in the modern New 52 setting.
Right. Now, Doomsday? Boy. Doomsday.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of, I was going to say animal, but I can't even say animal. That's just he's just a different breed in general, man. Like,
yeah, just a different breed altogether.
because
That's
like
the sheer brutality.
yeah, man, the death and destruction that he brought to the movie, like the movie went from 0 to 100 real quick. Like once he showed up,
Exactly.
once he landed from that meteor, it was over for everybody. Literally everybody. Like I wasn't like I knew Doomsday was gonna be like destroying everything, but bro, like the blood and the gore, like I wasn't expecting them to show blood, or I
Yeah,
thought they was gonna show
exactly.
a
But
little
there
bit
was
of
a
it.
lot of blood in this film.
Yeah, there was a lot more blood than I thought there was gonna be, and Doomsday literally was the reason why it was all there.
Exactly. But I feel like they did a great job of having the blood where it was needed. It wasn't gratuitous at all. They did a great job of
Yeah,
making it feel like it was believable in that aspect.
you would think that it's the Justice League. You think they could hold them off? No, they all got. As soon as they showed up, they got put right back down. No mercy. And I was just like, oh my
Exactly.
goodness. Like, how? Who made him like this?
Where did this guy come from and why is he here?
Yeah. I mean, he was literally death and destruction. It was Doomsday when he showed up, and I thought that was really good. And with them bringing Doomsday and him killing everything, I think it kind of pushed even the animation team to like do things that they didn't think they could do. Like the action in this movie was top notch. From not even just from them Superman saving somebody to all the way to the Doomsday fight. The action was crazy, and I think they did a really good job. This is the most action we've ever seen in a DC animated film, or the best action, I should say.
Yeah, that for sure. I'd probably say, in my humble opinion, out of all the past and present DC animated films, this has to have had the greatest action sequences of all of them. Like you really felt like you were watching Superman and Doomsday go at it in Metropolis.
The last thing I have to say about Doomsday, he really pushed that helplessness feeling that he just when he fought, it was everybody, the Justice League, or he was just killing civilians. You just felt like the helplessness that he brought because there was literally no answer. He was just steamrolling everybody, and even when he was fighting Superman, it was just like, man, I'm praying for Supes right now because I don't think he's gonna make it out alive. Like I felt bad for him.
He's gonna win this.
Yeah, I did, and he did a really good job. What I'll enjoy from the movie. I mean, I guess I kind of already touched on what we enjoy, but just the pros and just to line them up. Doomsday, number one, of course. The way the way they let him come on the screen and literally just do whatever he wanted. He literally was the lead actor. He stole the show.
Yeah.
Like nobody thought Doomsday was going to be this crazy, this damaged, high chaos character. I mean, if you've read the comic books, you know, but to see it in like motion is just something different.
Yeah, to see it animated is a different experience for sure.
Yeah, bro. I take my hat off to the guys at WB when they ended that. That was one thing I really enjoyed about the movie.
My biggest pro about the film is actually Superman. You know, out of all the Justice League War, Throne of Atlantis, the animated films we got to see this new adaptation of Superman, I felt like this is the most I felt, connected to this character. From him saving that kid on the bridge to for them taking verbatim the quote from the Death of Superman comic in the 90s, where after he kills Doomsday, he asks Lois, did he kill him? Did he win? They ripped that directly from the comic books, and I thought that was such a great touch. And it really made you feel for the character in that moment. That in his last moments, he wasn't worried about himself. He was worried about the citizens of Metropolis. And I really felt like that was a great touch to humanize such a god, in my opinion. Another pro definitely has to be Doomsday. The way he just showed up, and like everything, the whole vibe of the film just changed. The entire dynamic, everything felt heavy, everything felt serious. Like, this is the Justice League, okay? Not the Avengers. When the whole team gets together, things happen. But not this time. Doomsday showed up, people got put down. And it really gave you that sense of urgency. Well, okay, the Justice League can't beat this guy, but of course, it's Superman, right? He's definitely gonna put this guy down, no problem. He's Superman, for crying out loud. No. Superman shows up, it's more of the same. Doomsday, he was just a great villain. In terms of like Um, in terms of like being a cerebral villain, he wasn't that, but that's not in his character. He's a powerhouse, and they did a great job of conveying just the totality of the situation, in my opinion.
Another pro I kind of had was Lex. I mean, like I said, like you said earlier, he didn't get that much screen time, but the screen time he did, and it just had me thinking, Lex, you sleazeball, you scum of the earth, bald headed mother, like you are really sad. And they did a really good job. Like I said, the little bit of screen time he had, he did a really good job of.
Yeah, they definitely did his character justice with the amount of screen time that he had. Very serviceable as a character.
Now for the cons, boy oh boy, they're not really like big, don't watch the movie kind of cons, but it kind of just like was like, all right, this is it. One con I kind of had was the lack of consistency in the animation. Some like I said, the fight scenes were beautiful. They were, I was like, oh my goodness. But then sometimes, and it wasn't even like big parts of the movie, it was small subtle scenes where like Superman's face would look like off, like one eye would be lower than the other, and I'd just be like, how did we not catch this before we put the movie out?
Exactly.
And even some of the character designs, the majority of it was fine. They just took character models from other movies, but like I said, in certain scenes it was just like, what? Like Martian Manhunter, I was like, why he look like this?
Yeah, for sure. But some of my cons are to piggyback off what you said, the animation in some scenes. Like there was a scene where the Flash was there and his emblem was literally just a squiggly line on his chest, not a lightning bolt. And I was just like, what is going on here? And Superman's face, a lot of the times, just looked like swollen, like he just had like a bad allergic reaction to peanuts or something. And it just kind of broke the immersion. It's gonna affect the score I give it at the end, but it didn't take away from the movie. It was still a great film overall, in my opinion. But it just marred a great film.
Yeah, I would say it didn't really make or break the movie, but for a movie to be that good, you would expect the animation to be better.
The portrayal of Lois Lane, her portrayal was kind of like it was hit and miss, because like some aspects of her character they got right, and at times she just came off as like this character who didn't really know what to do, and that's not Lois Lane. Lois Lane is all about getting to the bottom of the story, figuring things out, getting shit done, and I really felt like they missed that.
Yeah, and like I said, for her to be an investigative reporter, she wasn't doing too much investigating. Like,
exactly.
For when Clark, like I said earlier, when Clark kind of finally revealed that he was Superman to her, she, oh my God, I get it now. It all makes sense. And I'm just like, what? Like, if this all made sense, why would you
follow the breadcrumbs?
Now you an investigator after he tell you the answer, and that's kind of what I liked over Superman Doomsday than this film. Lois already knew that Clark was Superman, Superman was Clark, but she kind of like forced it on Superman to just confess, basically tell on himself, because she knew. It's kind of like when your mom knows that you did something wrong, she's just waiting for you to tell her that you did it. That's kind of how Lois was for Superman in that movie, and I kind of like that more. And even it wasn't even like a con that I say it was kind of like a con you had in the beginning, but like after we kind of talked about it a little bit off screen, you kind of was like, okay, I can see the whole why did they beat Darkseid but not Doomsday kind of thing, because at first you were like, how did they punch on Darkseid, who is basically a god,
literally a god,
and they're getting treated by Doomsday. And then I was just like, I kind of brought up the fact that, you know, Darkseid has to think, and you can eventually outsmart Darkseid, whereas Doomsday is a creature hell-bent on death and destruction, and you're just gonna have to outmuscle him, and they just didn't have that muscle effect. That they thought they did. Even with Superman and Diana on the team, they just didn't have that to beat Darkseid. But like I said, it kind of started off as a con, but after further discussion, it really wasn't a big deal. Now, for the final score, whew, I give it a 9.5. More leaning towards a 9. Just because of the
Yeah.
Lois and the animation. But like I said, other than that, it was pretty much. I saw the Lois and the animation form 1 point, so I don't think that's bad. I'll give it a 9. Yeah, 9 is pretty good.
Yeah, that's solid. I totally agree with you. My rating is also a 9. I feel like it had the potential to be a 10, but the poor animation at moments and Lois's character not really serving too much of a more central role to the story kind of just took it down a point. But other than that, it's still a phenomenal film. One of the best DC animated films to date. Has by far the best action sequences out of any DC animated film to date. So if you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend you go out there and see
Then
this film.
just please go watch it. Now, I like how Ryan said one of the best, but not the best, because I have seen a couple comments saying, "Oh my God, this is the best animated DC film yet to date that they put out." I'm like, I don't know if y'all seen that
It's
Suicide
good,
Squad
but
Hell to Pay, but if you haven't, I would definitely go peep it because
definitely,
that
for sure.
movie was definitely fire, bro. Definitely fire.
Now that movie's a 10.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed me doing something different. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys later.